After spending my entire savings to pay for my brother's surgery, I came home to find my bedroom empty and my name removed from the lease. "You were always a backup plan," he said, tossing me a suitcase without looking up from his phone. I sat on the curb all night, wondering how I'd been so blind. The next morning, I walked back inside with a plan that would.
I'm Danielle.
I'm 34 now, but this happened 4 years ago, when I was 30 and still believed helping family meant something. I was living in Mesa, Arizona, in a basic 2-bedroom apartment off Southern Avenue. Rent wasn't cheap, but I managed. I worked mornings at a diner and evenings cleaning offices, and I didn't complain. I never lived fancy, just kept my head down and saved what I could. I had close to 13 grand saved up. I was planning to move into a little place by myself, finally. Then my brother, Kyle, called one night. He was 25 at the time. He'd been couch hopping and burning bridges for years. We hadn't spoken in a while, not after the last time he borrowed my car and disappeared for 3 days. But that night, he sounded desperate. Said he had nowhere else to go. That he was finally ready to be better. I should have known better. I should have at least made it temporary. But I said yes. Told him he could stay in the spare room until he found work. He never looked for work. I paid for everything, rent, food, even his damn phone bill. When I brought it up, he'd say, "You know I'm trying. Things are just rough right now." I believed him. Or maybe I just wanted to. Then the hospital call came. He'd collapsed at some warehouse party. Kidney failure. No insurance. They needed someone to approve the surgery and cover the deposit. My name was the emergency contact. I didn't hesitate. I signed everything. I used every cent in my savings. $12,387. That's what I paid to keep him alive. I didn't even care. He was my brother. I thought this would be the moment everything changed. When he came home, I took care of him. Gave him my bed, because it was softer. Cooked for him. Picked up extra hours at both jobs. My back hurt constantly. I slept on the floor half the time. But he was alive. That was enough. 2 months later, I came home after a 14-hour day. All I wanted was to shower and sleep. But when I opened the door to my room, it was empty.
Gone. Bed. Desk.
Dresser. My photos. Even the lamp. For a second, I froze. I walked through the apartment like someone lost in their own home. Then I saw him. Kyle was on the couch, scrolling on his phone, calm as ever. Didn't even look up. "You were always a backup plan," he said, like he was reading a weather report. Then he stood, walked over to the hallway, and tossed a suitcase at my feet. "That's your stuff. I took your name off the lease. You're not on it anymore." I didn't say anything. I couldn't. It was like every sound had been sucked out of the room. I grabbed the suitcase and walked out. I sat on the curb in front of the building with that suitcase on my lap until the sun came up. All night. No calls.
No texts.
Nothing. I just kept thinking, how did I not see it? How did I let this happen? But when morning came, I didn't cry. I stood up. I went back inside like a ghost. He didn't even notice. And that's when I decided something. I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't going to yell. I was going to make him wish he never thought I was the safe option. I had a plan. I didn't say a word that morning. I just walked into the apartment while he was asleep on the couch, TV still on from the night before. I looked at him for a long time. He looked peaceful, comfortable, like he hadn't just destroyed the one person who still gave a damn about him. That was the last time I felt anything close to sadness. After that, it was just cold. Here's what I knew. The lease was now in his name. He had no job, no savings, no clue how to take care of anything. But what he did have was something most people in his situation didn't, me. He used me as a safety net, as a way to stay afloat. He thought I'd just go away quietly. So I didn't. I still had access to the building. My name was off the lease, but nobody changed the security code. I also still had friends, the kind Kyle never bothered to talk to. One of them, Jose, worked maintenance for the complex. He was the one who told me about the switch in the lease. "You sure you're okay?" he asked when he handed me a copy of the paperwork. "Yeah," I said. I just need to look at something. That's when I saw it. Kyle had forged my signature to get me off the lease. That was mistake number 1. Mistake number 2 was still using my bank account for some of his bills. I'd set things up online months ago when I helped him, and I guess he never figured out how to change it. So he was still paying his phone bill with my information. I screenshotted everything. I started documenting every bill, every charge, every forged signature. I kept receipts. I even found an old email from our landlord where I'd asked to be taken off the lease myself. Kyle had replied using a fake email pretending to be me, confirming it. Dumb move. I printed that too. Then I called my cousin Monica. She's not a lawyer, but she works at a law office downtown. She looked everything over and said, "This is fraud. He committed identity theft. You could bury him with this." I didn't want to bury him. Not yet. First, I wanted to teach him what it feels like to have everything taken from you. So I played it slow. I let a couple weeks pass. I stayed at a friend's place, close enough to keep an eye on things. I watched him post selfies from the apartment, inviting people over, drinking, acting like he owned the place. I watched him flirt online with girls using some sob story about how he almost died and his sister abandoned him. Then I called the hospital billing department. I told them Kyle had promised to repay the full amount for his surgery. I told them he'd used my bank account without permission. They said, "We can't do much without legal action." "Don't worry," I said. "That's coming." I filed a police report for identity theft. Brought every document. Showed them everything. It was slow. Paperwork always is. But once it started moving, it didn't stop. Then came the best part. I found out from Jose that Kyle had missed 2 rent payments. He was spending money like rent wasn't real. I made one phone call to the landlord, explained everything, sent over the report and my documents. They were furious, not at me but at Kyle. Turns out, he told them I was unstable, that I'd run off and left him with everything. They gave him 10 days to leave. But I wasn't done yet. Kyle didn't go quietly. Of course he didn't. When he got the eviction notice taped to the front door, he called me. First time in weeks. I didn't answer. He left a voicemail. "You think this is funny? You're seriously doing this after everything I went through?" No apology. No explanation. Just blame. Like I hadn't watched him throw me out of my own home. Then came the text. "Why are you doing this? After all I've been through? You said you cared about family." I didn't reply to any of it. 3 days later, I heard from Jose again. "He's trashing the place," he said. Punched a hole in the bedroom door. Screaming at people through the walls. "Cops showed up last night." It was exactly what I expected. Kyle always imploded when he lost control. So I sped things up. Remember that police report I filed for identity theft? It had been sitting for weeks, waiting on a follow-up interview. I walked into the station with every update. The screenshots of him accessing my bank account, the forged lease documents, the hospital payment logs with my name but his ID. They took it seriously now. Within days, they opened a full investigation. Then I filed a small claims case to get my savings back. I knew I might not win, or that even if I did, he'd never have the money to pay me. But I wanted it on record. I wanted every piece of this to follow him. What I didn't expect was what I found next. I was digging through some old messages on my laptop, trying to find more evidence of the forged lease, when I came across a conversation Kyle had accidentally left logged into, a Facebook Messenger chat with one of his friends. It was from 2 weeks before he kicked me out. "She's never gonna leave unless I push her. I'm just waiting until the surgery clears, and I'm on the lease. After that, she's gone." His friend replied with a laughing emoji. Kyle responded, "She's always been a soft touch. I'll be fine. She'll cry for a while then go back to being her boring self somewhere else." That was the part that broke something in me. It wasn't just betrayal. It was premeditated. He planned it. He waited for me to spend every cent, then made sure I had nothing left before throwing me out. I wasn't a person to him, just a tool. A bank account with arms. So I sent those messages to the landlord, the police, and Monica. The final blow came 2 days before he had to move out. Jose called again, laughing. You'll never guess what just happened. Cal had tried to throw a party, some sort of farewell get-together. But nobody showed up. His old friends either ghosted him or blocked him. Word had gotten around. People knew what he did. The cops showed up again. This time, they handed him a court summons. He'll be in front of a judge in 3 months, civil and criminal cases both pending. He's facing charges for fraud and identity theft, and he owes back rent. The landlord's suing him for damages to the apartment. And I'll be there in court, with every printed message, bank statement, and signature he thought no one would ever look at twice. But I'm not doing it for revenge anymore. I'm doing it because some people need to learn the hard way that even the softest people stop being soft eventually. Shocked but silent, emotionally exhausted, frozen in place by the realization, secretly angry but calm, heartbroken but pretending to be okay.